It's been another record-breaking day in the gold market, and silver is surging big time. Let's talk about what's happening with both metals, especially in the futures market, and why they are rising so fast. Let's explore! What an amazing thing. In fact, for the third time now this year, silver has reached my forecast in terms of its price, and we've surpassed $41 for silver right now, but it did get to above $42 an ounce in the silver futures market. That's right. It got over $42.20 earlier in the day. But now the real price that matters is a spot price, but I'm watching futures price now for both these metals as well too, to give an indication of the volatility of the market. Because earlier in the day we saw gold also spike up in the futures market to $3,640. That's right, $3,640. It's unfathomable to think about now. As it's still now above $3,600, but it got up to $3,640, and then it started to pull back in the futures market. But what about the prices that really matter right now? They're still both up dramatically, still in record territory for gold, as it's resting up at almost 1% increase today to $32.70 right now to $3,566.40. Silver's price is $41.28. That's a 35% increase. Not as much as gold today, but still, it is on fire. And for the last couple of days, we've been seeing a massive surge in silver's price. And pretty remarkable indeed. In fact, it got up to $41.51 earlier in the day. So now I'm going to have to revise my target for the end of the year for silver. I'm actually shocked and surprised that we're seeing this happen, really, when summer is still going on. Now, Summit Metals is a good place to go to not only buy silver and gold, but also if you want to sell silver and gold. They have now updated with live pricing on their page. If you click on the Sell to Us button, and you will see the prices there. But here's the kicker. If you do sell, and I generally don't recommend selling your full stack, but there are indications and situations where you may want or need to profit on your silver. And if you're going to do that, check out that page and email them and let them know that Salivate Metal sent you. Tell them Uncle Sal sent you, and you might get a little better price. Because local coin shops, and I was at mine today, I'm going to show you what I got later in the video, they are inundated. They're getting inundated with silver, especially silver, but gold too, which means that they may have to turn some people away. I'll tell you more about that later. And maybe in this video or in another video, because it's a very important topic right now as we're seeing silver reach a 14-year high right now. But let's discuss a little bit about what's happening. Essentially, what's happening in the market right now is piggybacking what happened yesterday. And this is why I am really only cautiously optimistic. In other words, stay tuned, folks, especially with what happened in the futures market. We may be near the top. We very well could be near the top, and if we're not there yet, I think it could be coming sometime soon. Gold prices were being surged here to a record high, reflecting a 2.1% increase from the previous day's close. And of course, right now it's pulled back from that. But nonetheless, this upwards movement is driven by a combination of key factors, according to Naeem Aslam, and that is primary expectations surrounding a potential Federal Reserve rate cut, a weakening U.S. dollar, and heightened geopolitical concerns. And that is something that has been the case for forever and a day, it seems like. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that a lot of this, in a sense, is hype to a degree. People are running scared. Although many people feel like this could just be the beginning, I'm not necessarily in that camp, although I am cautiously optimistic that we can continue to see a climb here. But all of these factors, I think in a sense right now, we're seeing the metals move too fast. Now, does that mean I'm a negative Nancy? No, it does not, as I was accused of recently. It just means that we should approach the precious metal markets with cautious optimism. In other words, I'm not going to come here and tell you to buy because I think it's going to go higher. And that this is just the beginning, and watch out. No. I'm saying just pay attention, see what happens. Sometimes it's good to wait. Do not buy out of fear. And again, I fully am expecting that we're going to see prices probably continue to move, but we could be near the top and we could see the prices come back down, or they could continue to climb up. But I think at this pace, if they do continue to climb up, I would say I would wait for a pullback to some degree. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but just looking at what's going on with the futures market, I think it's a possibility because it's been really erratic with both silver and gold futures prices today. And they pull back somewhat that I think that our upside may be limited, may not be limited, but I'm looking at that as a possibility. Now, again, with all the same reasons why, with the Fed rate cut, the dollar, in fact, the dollar was up yesterday. What is the dollar doing today? The dollar is down, but it's only down slightly. It was in the 97s. So think about this. It's still above 98. It's 98.17. And just a couple of days ago, or last week, silver was much lower, way below $40 an ounce just a week ago, and the dollar index was higher. So I'm a little bit confused as to why, silver is up so dramatically today, except for maybe perhaps what I reported on recently, and somebody reminded me of it, that had occurred with large volume of buying in the gold market, and also even some shifting in the longs for the silver market. In other words, hedge funds and big players and entering into the space, and that very well could be what's happening. And they could be doing it because of information and stuff that has led up to where we're at right now. In other words, all these factors are just reflecting on why people bought a week or so ago or a month ago. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's a very dynamic market, but some of that could be stopping. Well, I'm not privy to a lot of that data and how it's released to see what's happening here. But so those are what we're seeing. Gold, we know, is traditionally seen as a safe haven asset, continues to see benefit from increasing demand driven by these macroeconomic factors. Silver is benefiting as well, obviously here. Now, a critical catalyst for the rally in gold's price is the market's anticipation of a 25 basis point rate cut by the Federal Reserve at its upcoming meeting on September the 17th. This rate cut is expected to provide support to riskier assets and further weaken the dollar, both of which benefit gold. Additionally, there is speculation that the Fed might take a more aggressive stance by lowering rates by 50 basis points. So there is that possibility, although I think it's going to depend on the data that's released. But, when we think about surprises that could come from the Fed, it's not very often that we get those. So I kind of doubt that's going to happen. In fact, we're seeing a solidification of a quarter point rate cut by the Fed Watch tool. Those market participants for the polling suggest that the probabilities are 95.6% that the Fed is going to cut by a quarter point. Absolutely no one thinks it's going to be a half point rate cut. So I think those are hyped up fears. And this channel exists to try to calm some of those fears or to squelch some of those fears and try to be as balanced as I can. And also 4.4%, that's a very small minority, believe that they're going to leave rates unchanged at this point in time. We'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, gold is in such a state that, buying fractional gold is something that is becoming more and more of an attractive notion, such as these 1 gram bars here from Summit Metals. I'm glad I have these. I need to finish this up. But nonetheless, there's other ways to get gold too, like my friend Pam, who gave me this. Pretty cool. Yes, indeed. Look at that. And it is actual gold, and pretty neat little thing. A very, very tiny amount of gold here, but you can see this is how gold is going to come. You see those foil notes, like the gold backs, but how about something like this? It's a very, very small little piece of gold here that you can add to your collection if you so desire. You're going to see more and more of that type of thing out there for sure. And so that is one way to be able to accumulate gold. And I think you're going to see more clever ways that it can be acquired and accumulated. Now, the depreciation of the U.S. dollar by approximately 11% since President Trump's return to the presidency has further fueled gold's attractiveness to foreign investors. A weaker dollar makes gold cheaper for investors holding other currencies, which increases demand and drives up prices. Yes, indeed, it sure does. That's right. This thing has lost 11% since Donald Trump took office, and it's lost a whole lot more in the 4 years prior to that. It's crazy. And now, Trump's influence on U.S. monetary policy continues to play a pivotal role in the market. His pressure campaign against Federal Reserve has created uncertainty in the financial markets as investors are unsure about the Fed's stance on inflation and interest rates. Well, the thing is yes, he's been saying, hey, you need to cut interest rates, but everybody that's participating does not believe that they're going to cut rates more than a quarter point. And so I think a lot of this is hyped up. I really, really do. And so I think there could still be some more positive upside for gold and silver. I'm anticipating that. But I think it's going to be relatively limited from here on out. Now, I could be wrong. In fact, I can't tell you how many times people say, you're always so negative. I'm not always so negative on gold and silver. I'm positive on both. I've been bullish on both for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's paid off with gold. I've been right every single year. I have made my predictions for gold's price. It's met. And for silver, I've been right for the last 2 years. And I've been right 3 times this year. It's just now today reached $41 an ounce. So I'm going to revise my prediction for gold, for silver from here to the end of the year. We'll see how that plays out. But I like to bring you the latest news analysis, and I try my best to be as balanced as I can, not because I'm not bullish on gold and silver. No, on the contrary, I believe in them quite so much that I just think it's better to be as realistic as we can about those metals. And as the prices go up, just as I would say when they're down, there's more to gold and silver than just its price. There's something about these metals that is quite profound as monetary metals throughout history. So there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.